All right. I believe we're live. So I'm going to do a few introductions real quick. And while we wait for folks to show up for our live video, my name is Jay. I'm the owner of Section8Consulting.com, and we work with around 1,000 or more clients every year answering questions and answers for Section 8 housing. I do consulting work, and this allows us to work with clients, do casework, help people navigate the system, deal with some legal matters, and of course, pursue housing vouchers, low income housing, affordable housing, and Section 8 housing for many of you. So, that being said, I'd like to warm us up for the new holiday season. It's finally here. It's fall, and for those of you that enjoy Halloween, that's coming around the corner. So, I'm hoping to get a little bit more in the background here related to that. Now, if you don't celebrate Halloween, then, well, that's the way it goes. Happy fall. So, we're in a good, at this point, I believe we're in a good market for Section housing. I'm seeing a lot more. The demand's definitely fallen from summer. So every summer, we have May, June, July, August. That's when it's the worst. The demand's extremely high. It's also when housing authorities prefer not to open up waiting lists because they know there are greater waiting lines for all of this. And so as we move in here in September and October and November and December, this is a more preferred time. The closer we get to the new year, the better and easier this will be. And many housing authorities prefer to open during those times. So that means your pursuit of housing or vouchers will become simpler and you will compete less for that. We'll also see more housing authorities open and offer as well. Now, another thing I'm starting to see in the market is now that let's say the pandemic as it's passed and the effect of the pandemic as it still plays out with inflation and other things, we're seeing more and more federal action from HUD related to bad housing authorities and other actors. So tomorrow, around this time or a little bit later, so I'm on Texas time or Central Standard, I'm going to be posting a video about a very, very wicked person that was in charge of a very high ranking position that would have allowed children that are homeless to go into Disney World, but they chose to take those funds and then service their own families. So the wealthy basically stealing from homeless children. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow because I want to make sure that monsters like that, the people that participate in that campaign to defraud homeless children, that we give them the time and effort and celebrity they're looking for. And we discuss how they're going to receive the gift of not Section 8, but Section 9. And then Section 9, for those of you who don't know, will be the free gift from our government when you receive 3 hots and a cot in a federal prison. You'll get your lease, you'll serve 75% of your time, but you won't get a key to that apartment. So I hope tomorrow to discuss Section 9 for those monsters that wanted free federal housing in the penitentiary. Moving on from there, good morning to all of you that have joined us. Today I'm here to answer questions related to Section 8 housing and federal programs for those of you that have them. If not, then you can sit back and listen to me talk to the rest of you and related to the market conditions for housing related to Section 8 housing. Good morning, Isabel. How are you today? Busy bee, power still corrupts. It always does, doesn't it? So it looks like we got a small crowd this morning. I know I've been away, and I'm going to tell you why I hadn't made a video in about 2 or 3 weeks. I was taking a rest, and a bug crawled in my ear, almost pierced my eardrum. It took 10 minutes to get that bug out of my ear. It caused an infection. And much to my delight, most of our clients at our company that hire us to do work, they don't want to hear about you might be deaf. They want you to give them a call and give them what they paid for, obviously. So I had to work through that. I don't think a lot of our clients realized just how much pain I was in for a while there. So I had to go see a doctor in an emergency room. That bug was almost successful in making me deaf in one ear. Thankfully, I survived that. And I had a pair of tweezers and pulled it out. So, all right, Sally Richard, good morning. Sally goes, well, I can't believe they did that, but yet I've seen more terrible things. Look, there are about 8 different stories I'm planning on telling, And these aren't stories. These are actual situations playing out around the nation where we're dealing with bad housing authorities, bad landlords, and situations that are crimes at both the state and federal level against children and other things that related to housing. And the one with the Disney World especially caught my attention because I don't want that story and what's happened to go away. I want those people to get all the attention and celebrity they deserve. And we're going to give them some of that tomorrow. When you've got a channel as old as mine, I can make a video within an hour on most subject matters, and it will be posted on the first page of Google in most cases, at least if it's related to housing. So Google and YouTube find me a priority. So I'm going to identify that specific person by name, their job, and hopefully Google and YouTube will honor me by ranking that very highly. That way, that monster that rolls around, anytime that there's a Google search related to them, they'll be found easily rather than have the story disappear. They deserve nothing less, in my opinion. All right, BB, I'm glad you survived that. Boring insects are quite resilient. Tell me about it. And I got that phantom pain as well in my ear, where I still think it's kind of there, but thankfully it's not. So, I've had a very difficult time. I plan every year to put up holiday stuff, and I didn't get a chance. I did get most of it up in the yard, but I already work incredible hours doing casework for most of you guys that are trying to get housing and vouchers. And so I'm finally on the inside working in my home, in my office, and hopefully by next week, we'll have some things there. And again, I realize that everybody enjoys Halloween. It means nothing to me. I just simply enjoy the festivity of it more than I do probably flying on a broom handle across, the nation. So for those of you that are concerned, if you're Christian or non-Christian nature, Halloween has nothing to do with that for me. So probably more of a thing I picked up as a kid. All right. So as we talk about market conditions and housing vouchers, I think another important thing that we should consider is whether or not you have a good case. And I think a lot of people that are seniors, 62 and older, and those that are 55 and older, as well as those who are disabled and homeless and so on, may have a more prominent case. But 30 years ago, being a senior by itself was an incredibly powerful thing to have in an application, and because you'd be considered and prioritized higher than others. As time has gone on, and to the detriment of most people in society, more people need housing than they ever have. Look at the hurricane that just hit over there in South Carolina. It's only a matter of days before my phone gets flooded from there, because you're talking about people that were already on the edge, already living in a state where there's not great financial assets, where people already struggle with housing and money, and a lot of those people wiped out. Same way Florida and Texas and Louisiana get wiped out by hurricanes. So a lot of people that were already paycheck to paycheck will now be experiencing the first thoughts or meaning of homelessness. And I'm hoping if you're from South Carolina or those regions down in Georgia that were affected by that hurricane, reach out to my office. We're putting together some resources for you guys. I have some heavy concerns. Nobody necessarily needs to simply become by proxy homeless simply from a lack of information. I certainly try very hard on my channel to provide as much as I can to teach you and guide you and how not to chase your tail and how not to get involved in bureaucracy that will cost you years of your life trying to pursue options of vouchers and housing. I'm going to have a little sip of my coffee here in a plastic cup. I have to thank my visiting mom. She decided to brew coffee this morning, but she's like me. She put everything in, kicked it on, but there was no pot in the coffee maker. So we were served coffee this morning on the floor, down the dishwasher and everything else. So I want to credit good old mom for that. And then we managed to straighten it out. So I'm drinking out a red cup. Angela Sanchez, put cotton balls in ears when going to sleep. I would, but when you have as many cats that roam around the house as I do, a few of them will actually get you in your sleep. So I like to be kind of aware. Like Grandma Gracie, one day I'll bring her in the video. She's almost 25 years old. She's what I call a quiet sleeper, and she'll sleep by me, but she's also a ninja. If you move around too much, you might get a claw on your retina. So you have to be careful with Grandma Gracie. She gets rather bittersweet if her sleep's interrupted. And I got many cats that don't like that. So that's why I don't tend to put things in my ears that would make me not hear what's going on around me. Busy Bee, and he said Busy Bee, but really, I think what you mean to say is Busy Bee. Probably couldn't find the name. It says, "How are your Maine Coons? Can we get a sighting soon?" Well, you know what, Big Tom, our Maine Coons, is no longer with us. He's out here on the 10 acres, but we haven't seen him. I've seen lots of Maine Coons hybrids, so I know he has mated with other cats in the neighborhood. So I'm gonna miss Big Tom. He was something, really cared about that cat, but he was also found wild. Well, guys, it looks like we had a real small audience. So what's going to happen is I'm over this week while I have a lot of free time, I'm going to make more videos, probably every day for at least this week. That way we can get everybody awake and to the video, so we can do a little bit of learning. So tomorrow we're going to do one about children that are homeless or defrauded from Disney World trips related to housing in Section 8. And then hopefully we're going to do an educational Wednesday. All these videos are going to land around between 9 and 11 a.m. Central Standard. So if you're not on Central Time, then you'd want to acquaint yourself with that. Otherwise, you'll be watching a live video that's old. Sally Richards, Raising Hope TV, will show wore pantyhose over their heads to keep bugs out of their ears. That's an idea. I look like a robber in my own house. Sounds interesting. Sounds kinky too, but you're right, Sally. If you put pantyhose over your head, I suppose you could block bugs, but I might imagine how my neighbors might see that if they saw me walking past the window with pantyhose over my head. I realize you're saying when you're laying down, but I thought I'd big humor that, Sally. So I'll tell you what, maybe I'll do a video with pantyhose over my head, but who knows if I get reported for that one. They may construe me as doing something odd here. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Sorry there weren't more people asking more questions, but I've been away from here for a couple of weeks. So we'll pick this up Tuesday. And if there are any general topics related to housing, Section 8, Title 24, Code of Federal Regulation, Policy, Procedure, issues related to housing authorities, reach out to my office at www.consulting.com. That's www.section8consulting.com. And we'll try to work with you. All right. Busy Bees, you should inform the housing authority if you're homeless. You should inform the housing authority, or if you're homeless in a shelter. I think you probably should. Maggie Smith can't buy pantyhose anymore. Nobody wears them. Well, guys, thanks for sharing about the pantyhose. This is one of the more interesting videos. I didn't expect we'd be talking about bugs in the ears and pantyhose, but we had a small crowd and nobody really had questions about Section 8 today, which is very unusual considering almost 50,000 people watch my channel. So if y'all like, we can do a video on pantyhose and all the places you can buy them. So thought it'd be fun for that too. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go let y'all go because this is not the video I intended. All right. Bye-bye for now.